The story takes place in the 60s of the last century. It is rumored that there is a small town in America that is under a terrible curse. That is, on Halloween night, a pumpkin-shaped monster will appear and kill anyone who gets in its way. A group of young people in the town are tasked with destroying the monster before it reaches the church at 12 o'clock at night. If they fail, the whole town will face a severe punishment. Therefore, every year on Halloween night, many young people in the town go out to hunt down the pumpkin monster. That year, the winner was a boy named Jim. After defeating the monster, he gutted it, took out the candy inside, and devoured it. Jim became the hero of the town and was rewarded with a large sum of money and admired by many. In addition, he was also given a private expensive car with enough luggage to travel around the world for many years. Time flies, only 5 days left until the next Halloween. Richie is the main character of the movie and Jim's younger brother. After witnessing his brother kill monsters and become famous, Richie has nurtured the dream of following in his brother's footsteps. This year, he is determined to be the one to kill the pumpkin monster. That day, Sheriff Ricks came to school to inform the boys about the rules of the upcoming challenge. The pumpkin monster, also known as Sawtooth Jack, will appear in the cornfield and then head straight to the church in town. If he is not killed by 12 o'clock at night, the town will suffer very serious consequences. In history, there was one time the challenge failed, and the whole year the town was covered in sandstorms, causing all the crops to be destroyed. After hearing the announcement, most people thought it was just a Halloween prank to test their courage. However, only Richie was really interested. In the class, there is a guy named Riley. He and his accomplices often bullies Richie's group and call him weak. On the way home, Richie realizes Riley is following him. Fearing that he will be beaten, he rushes into a nearby movie theater. Here, he meets Kelly, a black girl who has just moved to town. After a few stories, the two become close. Richie promises that if he passes the upcoming challenge, he will take she out of town to travel together. Richie has two friends named Dylan and Bud. The three of them are very close because they grew up together in the same town. They once vowed to defeat the pumpkin monster together to escape this small town. Although Richie are very excited about this challenge, his parents, Donna and Dan, do not agree to let him participate. Because Richie has an older brother, Jim, who won the challenge last year, he is exempted from participating this year. Donna sadly said that after Jim won last year, he went on a trip for a year and only communicated with they through a few handwritten letters. She didn't want Richie to leave her like that. Dan tried to convince his son that the challenge was too dangerous. However, Richie still tried to argue, and as a result, he was slapped by his father. The next day, when Richie just stepped out of the house, he unexpectedly met Riley. Riley saw he and beat him up brutally, then took away the badge that Jim had given him. Then, he went home in a depressed mood and found a letter from Jim in the mailbox. In the letter, Jim said that he had gone on a trip for a year and was about to return to town. He advised Richie not to participate in the competition, but to stay home and take care of his parents. After reading the letter, Richie was extremely angry and decided to drive out alone. However, as soon as he left town, he was stopped by police officer Ricks. People here are not allowed to leave the town without permission. Richie tried to run away, but was hit hard on the head with a police baton, knocking him unconscious. Halloween has arrived. The young men participating in the challenge will be imprisoned by their families for 3 days without food or water. All this is to train their endurance and will to survive, to ensure that they can defeat the pumpkin monster. Night falls, everyone takes to the streets together, wearing masks and holding weapons to monster hunting. Richie just woke up and realized that the challenge had begun. He immediately decided to go out to participate. Although his family tried to stop him, but he did not listen. As soon as he got outside, he met his group of close friends. They drove together to the cornfield, hoping to find the monster. Dylan was eager to win, while Bud felt worried. Bud believed that the monster was real, because when he was a child, he saw it killing people outside the window. While driving, the car suddenly hit something. The group ran out to check, and found that it was the footprint of Pumpkin Monster. Then Richie led the group into the cornfield to search. After a while, a group member named Charlie was suddenly attacked. Before it could react, Charlie was cut in half. Bud was so scared that he left the group and ran away. Richie and Dylan headed towards the monster, but Dylan was quickly beheaded by it. At this time, the monster appeared in front of Richie with a terrifying appearance. He panicked and immediately ran away. Just out of the cornfield, he unexpectedly met Kelly, who would also participate in the challenge. Knowing that the monster was about to catch up, he asked her to leave here with him before it was too late. Meanwhile, Bud ran back to town alone in a panic. He knocked on the door, begging his parents to let him in, but they refused. The family advised he to go out to kill the monster, told him to bring back the prize money and bring honor to his family. While he didn't know what to do, the monster suddenly appeared behind him. He immediately went to the shelter, where cowardly young men who did not want to confront monsters were hiding. He tried to knock on the door to ask people to let him in, but the person inside asked for $200. Despite his begging, no one opened the door for him. At this moment, a terrifying roar was heard. A person inside the shelter looked through the crack in the door to the outside and saw the monster standing right in front of him. It tore Bud's head off, then rushed into the shelter and attacked everyone there. At this time, in town, the young men had not eaten for a long time. Hunger had made them no longer awake. They broke into the people's restaurants and robbed everything. The situation became chaotic. A butcher named Jarrett held a gun and threatened they, asking them not to come near. Some youths rushed in and were shot dead by Jarrett. However, this makes they were so angry that they threw rocks at Jarrett, then attacked and killed him. On Richie's side, he and Kelly sneaked into Sheriff Rick's house. They went inside and stole guns to use as weapons for self-defense. At this time, the monster burst into town. It had met a few young men who were loitering nearby. When Richie and Kelly arrived, they witnessed a gruesome scene. The bodies of a group of young men scattered on the ground. Suddenly, a pumpkin-shaped monster appeared right in front of them. Richie was about to shoot it, but he stopped when he saw the badge on the monster. Kelly immediately attacked the monster, but it threw her away and ran away. Seeing Kelly injured, Richie immediately took her home so that her mother could bandage her. Richie began to ask his mother about the winners of the previous contests and where they were now. His mother replied that most of them had new lives. Some became writers, others had high social status, but none of them remained in this town. Hearing this, Richie began to suspect that all the previous letters were not sent by his brother, but were written by his mother herself. After hearing these words, she only said 2 words, "Sorry," and then used a knife to end her own life. At this time, the clock strikes almost 12. The police loudspeaker announces that the pumpkin monster is approaching the church. A group of young people hear it and immediately run there. Richie and Kelly also arrive at the church and go inside, where they find Richie's father, Dan, sitting alone. When Richie questions father, he finally reveals the truth. The pumpkin monster is Richie's older brother, Jim. He also says that this contest has no winners. The previous year's winner will be secretly killed by the council and turned into a monster to continue the contest the following year. This is an ancient ritual of the town to ensure a good harvest. However, only the families of the winners know about this terrifying truth. So he does not want Richie to meet the same fate as Jim, so he tries to stop his son. He said that if this secret was revealed, the whole family would be killed by the council. After hearing this, Richie was extremely angry and decided to take matters into his own hands. Outside, at this moment the monster appeared. Richie was not afraid at all. He slowly approached. Sheriff Ricks did not want the monster to come near the church, so he gave Riley a gun and asked him to deal with it. Riley shot at the monster, injuring it. Richie immediately ran to and warned him not to continue attacking. But at that moment, the monster suddenly took hold of Richie's gun and pointed it towards him. Realizing that his brother had suffered too much, Richie decided to help him go peacefully. After the monster was dead, Richie quickly became the hero of the town. He was awarded a large sum of money and a supercar by the council to travel, receiving enthusiastic cheers from everyone. However, only he knows the terrifying truth behind it. He didn't want to be the next victim, so he secretly texted Kelly, promising her that they would escape town together that night. That night, the two quickly arrived at the meeting point and drove away, but shortly after, they were chased by Ricks's car. Ricks was tasked with handling the winners. Richie tried to speed up, but suddenly a car blocked the road, leaving him with no way to retreat. Ricks rushed in, holding a gun and threatening Richie, dragging him into a cornfield. In the middle of the field, there was a pre-dug hole, but when Ricks was about to strike, Richie suddenly took out a hidden gun and shot him. Due to the sudden attack, Ricks didn't have time to react. Richie asked him to reveal who was behind everything, but Ricks just cursed angrily. Left with no choice, Richie was forced to shoot him dead, thinking that everything was over. But a farmer suddenly appeared and knocked Richie down. When Richie woke up, he found himself in the hole, and the farmer was covering it with dirt. Richie tried to beg, but he didn't care at all, and the sand then slowly filled Richie's body. Dan knew that his son was unlikely to survive, so he went to where Kelly was hiding, gave her the car, and asked her to leave town immediately. Although she was very sad, but Kelly had no choice. Time passed almost a year, and near Halloween, Richie's body was hung on a cross. Gradually, his body transformed into a new monster. As the contest was about to begin, Dan suddenly appeared. killed the farmer, and freed Richie. Thank you very much for your support so that the channel can develop as it is today. If you find it interesting, please give me a like and a comment about this movie. Especially, please subscribe to the channel to follow my movie recap. See you again, my dear friends.